I mean, I said, this is what's going to happen. Because you couldn't see. I mean, all of a sudden, just a big truck would be upon you. Craziness. I mean, that's my tales of terror of going to the location with Tony. And I have to tell you that when being in Africa, it was Tony, it was Kenny Baker, it was Alec and his wife, it was all the stuff that you saw on the desert planet, the Tatooine, see? So I know Tatooine, but when we went back to England, it was like we'd already made a movie. You know what I'm saying? And I know that Tony had a hard time, and I had a hard time negotiating the fact that the other actors were coming over, and I couldn't be just with Tony anymore. We really bonded over there. I mean, even on our days off, we went to a Tunisian wedding together. There's not a lot of people hang with. I love the crew. George was always planning. I didn't want to bother him. So we go out and investigate ourselves. But when I got back to England, I was sort of drawn in other areas. I couldn't be as best buddies with Tony as we had been in England. And it was odd because that was our special little, our own special little movie because, you know, unless you see the actors that were, you know, in the scenes, they didn't go to the desert. And so, I mean, it was hard because as actors, you're paid to really relate to whatever it is. You know, it doesn't surprise me when people fall in love with their co-stars and these affairs happen and marriages break up because it's a blurry line. You really start believing it, you know, which is kind of a shocker because I know Harrison and I were really sort of like jockeying for not so much, you know, to make Carrie our girlfriend, but just to be cool around her and that's I'm funnier than he is, or, you know, whatever. And you can imagine my shock when I found out our statuses. It's the ultimate good news, bad news joke. Yes, there is an attractive woman in this universe. The bad news is she's just... I remember saying to George, where are all the women in this universe? Because who Stark was in the, you know, the scenes. One of the things that troubles me, I mean, I get it now. I understand why it was done, but the scenes that were cut out that are in the novel, where Luke, he's got that hat on. Everybody says, where'd you get that hat? Well, the first time, I'm the only one that doesn't have my original entrance, by the way. When you see Carrie for the first time, that's her entrance. Every character has their original entrance. Luke's entrance was originally a long shot of the power evaporators and then moving in when he sees something in the sky. He jumps in his land speeder, he takes off, and he goes to the team club. I mean, I don't know what the name of it is. You guys know. But that's what it was, a team club, and that's where, you know, Garrett Hagan and Clu Stark and Anthony Robbins, what? Forrest, Anthony Forrest, all those guys were. And what I loved about it was it set Luke in the right perspective in the sense that he was ridiculed as being, you know, geeky or, you know, woomy, Clu Stark called me. What I liked about it was Luke was the character that was the entry-level character for children who looked at that character and said, oh, you know, I could be like him. You know, he's not physically, yes, posing. He's not, you know, I mean, it's like I say, it's a great fantasy. You have that character that everybody can relate to, and that was that character. And I thought it put it in perspective in terms of how he was perceived, that he was a dreamer. And here's the one thing I love, is when Garrett pulls me aside, I forget the character he was playing, but Gibbs. Big Starfighter. By the way, my name was Luke Starkiller. We had to go back and reshoot that scene, because when I took off my helmet, I said, I'm Luke Starkiller. I'm here. Who are you? Oh, no, aren't you a little short for a stormtrooper? And I said, take off my helmet, and I said, I'm Luke Starkiller, I'm here to rescue you. You know, like, didn't you get the memo? I mean, that's what heroes do.
Ladies and gentlemen, I hate to cut in right now.
Oh,
I know. As much as I want to be ambitious, because I am sitting next to Mark Hamill, and you're not.
Close enough.
Mark is going to be down in our autograph hall. Unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, due to circumstances beyond our control, a good MC knows when to shut up. A good MC also knows when to wrap up. Ladies and gentlemen, please thank... Yes. That's a sums up. What group is he in?
He was in 530, 536.
536.
And he's been a colorist, an artist, and a writer at Bongo Comics. His latest venture was coloring the comic book guy miniseries. He said, "Did you see it, Dad?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "What'd you think?" And I said, "Worst miniseries ever."